In this video, I want to show you two different kind of tricks or techniques that can be very valuable to save time when you're wanting to do something in SCAL6 with Dreaming Tree files. So the first one is a really quick way to get the files into your library. So I'm going to come over here and, when you get your files, when you download them, they're always a zip file. It's very important you realize that what the trick you're going to do, it has to still be in the zip format, right? It can't be already extracted into a folder. So pay attention to that. And of course, if you don't have your extensions showing, then just look for the little zip icon on the file folder, or come over here and look for, the compressed zip folder. And then of course on a Mac, usually when you download a zip, it will automatically extract it, but it'll keep the zip. So again, make sure it's the zip file you're doing this with. The second thing is, back in the day, all of the Dreaming Tree files had 3D SVG in the name. So when you download them, you may see that already, 3D SVG. But now then I've noticed that some of them don't. And so I don't know, does it get forgotten or whatever? But the key is that a long time ago, it was set up between Dreaming Tree and SCAL6 that if it had the letters 3D SVG, just like you see right here, then you can drag and drop this zip file right onto the white space here in SCAL6, the page area, and it will automatically unzip all of the files and put them into SCAL6's library, which makes it really fast then to have what you need right here, within the software. So if it doesn't have it, for example, I know there's one here that this one up here. Now notice it has 3D SVG, it has a 1 after it. That's okay, don't worry about that. Doesn't matter if it has the underscore or not, whatever. It just needs to have somewhere in the name this 3D SVG in it. And so what I'm going to do is, this one's not currently in my library, so I want to use it as an example. Oh, before I do that, if you need to rename something, for example, let's say this lighthouse doesn't have 3D SVG in front of it. You can, on a Windows computer, you can just press F2 and it will automatically bring up the file name, and so you can edit it. So I just click where I need to change it, and right here I would add the letters 3D. Okay. If you're on a Mac, then instead you would just right click, and in the right click menu on a Mac, it's going to be right up here. It's going to have a rename, very convenient for you. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you, I'm going to use an example of one that I don't currently have. So let's take this Christmas paper scrape box cards bundle. All right, and you'll notice it has a 1 after it, and that, I don't know how that got there. I don't know if I accidentally put it there or what, but anyway, it has a 1 at it, but that's okay. You don't have to worry, as long as it has 3D SVG somewhere in the name. It can have a space in front of it, behind it. It can be at the start. It can be at the end, before the .zip, whatever. But I also want to confirm over here in SCAL6, when I open up the library. Now, when you open up the library, you won't see this folder down here called 3dsvg.com, but it will show up on its own the first time you ever drop a zip file that has 3D SVG in it. This will get created, and then from then on it'll just keep adding the files to it. So you'll notice I don't have anything here that has the word Christmas in it. So let's, coming back here, I'm going to take this zip that has it, the name in it. I'm just going to drag and drop it. Now when I drop it, if you have the library open, you'll see something happen, but if you don't, you won't see anything change here. But when you go to the library and you open it up, now then you're going to see that that's been added. And when it gets added, it has lots of different folders in it, just like it would be if you unzipped it yourself. So you're going to see all of the different individual folders that are in there. And when you find one that you want to add to your page area, you just simply click on it, and there it is, and you're ready to work with it. Right? So now then, the second part of this video, I wanted to show you how to break up a particular file, just one page of a file, to break it up into shapes. So I'm going to switch over to Santa's workshop, because I have one that I identified that's just perfect. And so that one is located right here, that one right there. Okay, so I'm going to pop the layers panels out so it's over here closer to my image. And then, and also it's just kind of a good idea, especially if you are using all-in-one and you've got all those different group folders and stuff, you'll want to be able to expand that. That will probably be a different video. Maybe I'll make some time. So anyhow, so I've got this one copy. Now, one of the things that I recommend you do, and is count how many of these do you need to separate out. Now, it may just be one. Maybe you just need to recut, let's say, this piece down here. Or let's say you want all of them all separated because you somehow want to be able to rearrange them or something. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is basically show you basically how you could keep separating them. But what you need to do first is make a copy of however many of these you have. So let's say I wanted to do this shape and this shape and this shape, these three in the middle and this. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I've got one, so I need to make 4 copies. So I'm going to right click with it selected, or right click copy, okay? Then right click paste in place, right click paste in place, right click paste in place, right click paste in place. So then I end up with my 5 copies. Now then I want to come up here and I want to hide these up here. And I also, I don't know that you have to lock them. I have this tendency to use both hiding and locking just because, again, it's like one of those little things that makes my brain happy. Or it could be because, in different versions and different updates and stuff, sometimes you think something's hidden, nothing will happen to it, and it does. So I kind of like, it's kind of like a double assurance. It's almost like a double lock. All right, so now that I have one of these then here on that's ready to be cropped. So over here on the tools panel, I come down here, and initially you're going to see this, and it's going to look like a knife tool right here. If you right click and switch to crop, now then it's in the crop mode. In order to crop, then I can just drag my mouse, and watch what I have. I'm just going to drag my mouse around the shape, making sure that I clearly have, I'm clearly around the shape completely. And you'll notice the background's turned gray. Okay, and then what I have selected is in white, and then I just hit the Enter key or Return key on the keyboard. And when I do that, then that's it. That basically has done it. Now I can't select it because I'm still in crop mode, so I need to come back up here to select mode. Now then I can take this piece and I can just go recut it, or I can move it around. I can do whatever I want to with it. But let's say I want to do all of them. So then what I would do over here on this one, I'm going to hide this one, and then I'm going to unlock and show the one right above it, which is another one of my backed up copies. Okay, and then also again, you might want to lock this. It's entirely up to you. It's just, again, I do it. I'm not telling you you have to do it. I'm just telling you I do it. All right, so now then, let's say I want to crop, let's say these 2 pieces right here. So same thing, make sure I come down, I have the crop tool. Unfortunately, it stays with crop. You don't have to keep going from knife to crop each time. It'll stay on the crop function until you shut down the software. So then I can come down here, and again, I'm just going to kind of drag my mouse. Let's say I'm going to go just a little bit too far. All right, let's say I wasn't paying attention, I went too far, and then I hit Enter key. Now then I've got a little bit more than I want. Then you would come up here and use the eraser, and it looks just like an eraser. It's pink. It's shaped just like the ones we had when I was a kid. So, and then when you click on the eraser, then you can select what size you want. Let's say I want around 0.35. Usually isn't too big that I'll mess up, right? Because if there's enough distance, but I can come up and I can just erase that. Okay. Then, and then again, I have that one. So then I take that one, lock it, come up here, unlock the one above it, and get another of the original back. Now then, another thing you might want to do to avoid having to do the erasing is just be a little more careful. And a little more careful comes from zooming in. So let's say I want to get these 3 here. Then I'm just going to zoom in tight on these 3. Okay. And then I can take the, come back down here to the crop tool. And then now then it's much easier for me to see exactly where I want to put the crop tool so that I'm not overlapping. And by the way, if I hadn't have, been able to, if I hadn't have gotten far enough out and I can see that, well, then you can also drag these handles to make it a little bit more refined. In fact, over here, I need to do that just a little bit. Okay. Then once I have that, again, I press the Enter key. Now, one thing is not happening to me so far. Sometimes you'll hit the Enter key and you'll just still have the same image. It'll look like nothing happened. Don't fret, just repeat. Just keep repeating. Sometimes I've had to repeat 3 times and suddenly it works. I don't know what it is. If it was a bug and I could make it happen, I could show the developer. But if I can't repeat a bug and repeat it and repeat it, there's no sense in showing it to the developer. So anyway, so now then I've got that one. So I can lock that one. Now this one up here, and let's bring back another copy. Now let's say I want this part around those shapes, and only those. I don't want those in the middle. Well, that's a little trickier because there's no way you can really drag your mouse to get just that. So I'm going to be stuck with these in the middle, but I'll show you, 2 ways to get rid of that. So then let's zoom in. By the way, Alt and roll your mouse button will zoom in like one step at a time, which makes it kind of nice when you're trying to just get into a certain area. Okay. And so now then, coming over here with a knife tool, again, I'm going to start out here to clearly make sure I have enough room. I don't care about the bottom of those particular shapes because I already cropped those out, obviously. So now then I'm just going to come down here and go just like that and press the Enter key. Okay, so now I have those. And now I need to get rid of this. Well, there's a couple of ways. One, I could use the erase tool and just, carefully erase it, or I could just start erasing it. The other thing you can do is take a rectangle, and I'm going to drag this rectangle around the shape that I want to get rid of. Okay, then I can select both of these and go to Path, Back minus Front. And that's another way to erase it very quickly if you don't like using the eraser tool. Okay, and so then once I have that, then I can lock it and hide that. And then finally, if I wanted to do the last one, which I'll do just very quickly, again, just take the crop tool, drag it down here, verify it looks like I've got the clearance around each of them I need, and press Enter. There, oh good. See, this time it didn't work. I'm glad I got a chance to show you that. So let's try it again. Again, I'm just going to repeat it. For whatever reason, I don't know why, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Press Enter. This time it worked. It might not have, and I might have had to repeat, but it will work. Okay. So now then let's come back and turn all these on and unlock, and you can see that they're all here. Now, one thing I forgot to tell you, let's take this one around here on the outside. Remember that, it has other parts to it. So I want to make sure that you realize it still has all of the individual parts to it that you're interested in having, in terms of, did it get rid of the dash lines? No, they're still there. Don't worry about that. When it crops everything that's in there, even if some of those are merged with other ones, which is really nice to see because that was part of what was making it really tedious to try to just do the ungrouping or the break apart steps that are traditionally used to break apart an image. So anyway, I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, please contact me.